Hi, this is Dodger and you're watching my show. Oh man, I got big old bags under my eyes. But what was I going to say before I got distracted by being an old hobo? Oh, okay, so it's Sunday, not Saturday. Saturday we had an all-day anime marathon and watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So that is why we are doing news today. Probably didn't need all of that information, but I gave it to you anyway. For our first piece of news, something super weird, is that for the 2014 World Cup, Japan has decided that their mascot is going to be Pikachu. Sam was telling me that in the car. When I got home, I went to look it up, and like, each of the players is denoted by a different Pokemon. So they all have these super punny sort of descriptions for what they do and their expertise on the battlefield of football, aka soccer. It's pretty great. And I mean, they get to go out on the field with a giant Pikachu, A+. But then like, some of the different websites that were covering it were like, what Pokemon would represent all of the other countries? And America was a slow bro. I know, I got sad for us. At least let us be a Snorlax. Snorlax is so cute. Lots of different controllers and handheld systems were talked about this week. Why? I don't know. The first one that we can talk about is that Valve totally retuned their Steam controller. So before they had, you know, like the weird nips, and then they had the touchscreen in between the nips. So now instead of that, they have a directional pad, but it's not an actual directional pad like a standard one. It's 4 buttons in all of the different directions, so a lot of people have had plenty of opinions about that and how it'll be less easy to use, although I don't know. I've also put the standard A, B, X, Y on the other side, so really you've got the nips and then you've got a normal controller in between the nips now. Side note, Valve, please don't sue me. I think nipples are great. Not trying to harsh your buzz. I actually haven't heard anybody talk about whether or not they like the Steam controller. I know people who have gotten one or been able to play around with one, and nobody's really taken the time to discuss whether or not they enjoy it or enjoy the feel of it. So what I'm trying to say is I need to try and play with one. That's the only way I'm gonna learn anything. But in other controller news, there's another one. In other controller news, there is a rumor that Amazon has made a prototype of a Bluetooth controller. There are pictures that may or may not have been photoshopped, but I think the reason why people are feeling like this is an entirely believable situation is because there have been so many speculations about whether or not they're trying to make their own console with buying double helix, doing all of this other work in the game industry, and trying to put all of that together. It wouldn't be improbable for them to make a controller. But the controller itself, like the picture, okay, this controller looks like it's covered with a very strange fabric, like maybe just like a velvet, like a weird velvet casing for the Amazon Bluetooth controller. That's doable, right? I don't know, guys. Again, it's just a rumor. These pictures might be totally fabricated, but if they're real, I will say that controller looks a little unwieldy. Because it's like on a slant, right? It's got like that huge booty in the back, and you're holding it and you're just like, I don't know, I would not enjoy playing with it. GDC is next week, and it promises to be one of the biggest GDCs ever. Like, I've been to GDC, and every year that I go, it gets a bit more intense. And I'm really sad that I can't go this year because it seems like this year a lot of different companies are coming. They're gonna be presenting a lot of different stuff and talking about all of their innovative ideas, and I wish I could be there. But the reason that we're talking about it is because Sony is planning on unveiling their virtual reality headset for the first time at GDC. They're having a panel, and they want everybody to see what they've been working on. It's gonna be on Tuesday, it looks like. I think at 5:30. I didn't write that part down, but it's Pacific time because they're in San Fran. I'm so interested to know, because they've been working on this since like 2011 is when they first started talking about working on virtual reality stuff, and now we've got the Oculus. I almost called it the Optimus. We've got the Oculus that everybody's very excited about and has been working toward being better and better and better and better. But at what point is that going to release? And is there a possibility that Sony could get the drop on it and release theirs first? And also, will the Sony one incorporate all of the same things that the Oculus has been trying to incorporate, like to minimize motion sickness and all of these other things to really replicate what real life is like? If we are on the verge of going through a virtual reality battle between a bunch of different companies, I'm so okay with that. I'm so okay with that, just having all of these different major companies just try to be the #1 in virtual reality. That is the sort of thing that stimulates growth and is going to make everybody want to be the best and have the best system and the best software, and I can't wait. Many of you know Shu Takumi as the creator of Phoenix Wright, and it might break some of your little hearts to know that after the third game he wanted to walk away and just stop the franchise. He apparently fought tooth and nail for the third one to be the last one, because he's the sort of person who's like, okay, we can't make this go for so long that people don't care about it anymore. We need to know when to stop. Which I think we can all agree is very admirable. But sadly it was made very clear to him, look dog, we're gonna keep doing this franchise with or without you, so if you want to be involved, cool. If you don't want to be involved, then you can leave. Which I think is so awful. So he decided to stay on, but that's why he pushed so hard for the fourth game to have a completely new character. And also why he originally didn't want Phoenix Wright in it at all. He wanted Phoenix to just like be off in his universe and have the new universe, new character, but then Phoenix had to be involved because he was pressured into it. After that, he mostly walked away, but wrote the plot for Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright, and now has come back on as the lead for the newer Phoenix Wright games that are going to be coming out. When I was reading that, I was like, that's so sad, because I love those games so much, but really, 3 wrapped it up so well. Like, reading that made so much sense to me, because it really was a complete story, and at the end of the third one, it felt like the end. It felt like the end of a trilogy. And just to know that he wanted that to be the close, and then wouldn't let it happen is so I don't know. But it doesn't stop me from enjoying those games. I'm just saying, like, when the creator is denied what he wants, tears. So many of you have probably heard about PlayStation Now, which is essentially Sony's response to why not backwards compatibility, and they're like, look, don't worry about it, because soon enough you'll be able to rent all of your favorite classic games. So quite recently we just started seeing proof that on the PlayStation Network we will be able to rent games through PlayStation Now, which is pretty interesting. Unfortunately all of the links don't work, but it does kind of show you what the layout will be. It's like you click on a game and then it says rent for 1 day, rent for 7 days, or rent for 30 days, and then it has all of the different prices, which is a standard format. A couple of things about this that I'm going to be very interested to see. Number one is whether or not, for the most part, games are going to be priced the same, or depending on how new the game is, whether or not the rental options will be different, which would make the most sense. I wouldn't argue with that at all. But the other thing that I'm really curious about is whether or not, for the most part, people will say, well, I can go to a used game store and buy this game for this price. Essentially, using PlayStation Now is for the convenience, because for the most part, these older games, now that the new system is out, those older games you can get for the price of the 30-day rent. But again, as the world is moving more toward digital, and as people feel like if they're gonna play something, they just want to play it now, and if that option is there, then they're just gonna do it, then sure, this will be a great success. It'll work out fine. But I do think that it'll diminish the amount of demos that we see. I think that there are gonna be plenty of people who are like, no, you don't need to play a demo. You can just rent the game. It's like, no, I don't want to rent the game. Can I just like see what the game is like so that I can pay you full price and just like buy it? Like, that's what I want. But I am worried that some game companies are going to see this as an alternative. Like, oh man, we can just get them to rent it and then buy it, and that way we're making even more money. And it's like, no, that's not how this should work. But that is how it worked for a long time. Like, if we're gonna come full circle, that's how it was. I would rent games all the time. I would rent them over and over and over again, and my dad would eventually be like, if you had just bought the game, then it would have equaled the amount of times that you've rented this game at this point, which made a whole lot of sense. But now, it's like, if I'm going to be buying a digital game that I won't actually own, that you could possibly just take from me at any moment, then why not let me have a demo? So PlayStation Now, it'll be interesting to see how it does, and again, this is supposed to be a response to backwards compatibility. Like, well, you don't need backwards compatibility because you can rent any of the games that you would in the moment want to play. And it's like, but I own that game. But I have that, it's here, I have that right here. It's even pre-owned. Oh, but at the time that I bought it pre-owned, it was 30 bucks. Whatever. As a final bit of news, just some updates on events, because we're getting into deep event season, guys. Spring and summer's deep event season. First up, we have GDC happening next week. That's going to be the 17th through the 21st, aka tomorrow through through the 21st. It is in San Francisco, and the expo days are the 19th through the 21st. So those first days are like press days, not everybody can get in, but 19th through the 21st is when you'd be able to like walk around and talk to devs and take people's CDs with their games on them for free and be like, oh, thank you so much. I love GDC. I think GDC is fantastic. If you have an opportunity to go, I've said this multiple times, but GDC, I feel like, is one of the most honest events to go to because people legitimately just want you to play their game and to have fun and want to play other people's games and connect with other developers. It's great. Everybody there is fantastic, and that is one of my worries with GDC getting bigger and bigger and bigger every year, is I don't want it to become more and more commercial, because it doesn't feel that way at all right now, and I'd love for that to just stay home. The other event to talk about is PAX East, which is April 11th through the 13th. Now, the reason that I'm mentioning PAX is because the schedule is now up, so you can plan out what all you want to do. I have so many friends that literally sit down with the schedule and are like, okay, this day I'm gonna go to this, and then go to this, and then grab this thing, and then go here, and I don't even look at the schedule until I'm there, which is so silly, but it's like a completely different way of looking at it. PAX East will be happening in Boston, so it'll be a little bit chilly, but that'll be nice because we're having a heat wave here. It's real gross. Anywho, that is my show. Thank you so much for watching. If you have a positive or a negative response, feel free to leave it in my comment section. And if you would like to have coffee with me, you can click wherever I put the annotation and it'll take you to my other channel. But otherwise, I hope you guys have had a fantastic week, and I will talk to you again next weekend. Bye-bye!